Hi everyone, it's Mario Vegas and welcome back to the Tank Zone. Today we will gonna talk about Osorio, which is a tier 6 Brazilian premium main battle tank, which was as a main reward for beneath the Southern Cross event. Today we will take a look at stats, we will take a look at ammunition, army calculator, we will compare this vehicle to its counterparts, premium and non-premium main battle tanks from tier 6. We will find out pros and cons, possible tactics, how to play this tank, suggested retrofits. I will suggest two different sets and two different command choices. And we will determine more or less optimal crew skills for this tank. So let's start, and let's start with sustained damage. Sustained damage, damage 480. And this is average for tier and nothing else to add. Penetration 680 millimeters, though it is very good. It is second best per tier 6 with only type 96 main battle tank doing better than this. 5141 DPM is best for tier 6 and reload time 5.6 seconds sits in a fourth place from the best of the best in this tier. So overall sustained damage is quite good, even at some points probably impressive. So far so good. It's good. Let's carry on with let's carry on this time with ammunition, not defense, but let's take a look at the ammunition. So it carries 120 millimeters armored piercing fin stabilized discharging sabers with the penetration from 680 already mentioned up to down to 510 if you target enemy at 500 meters. And damage is 480. This tank carries HE ammunition as well, and this is it. No heat ammunition, no any rocket possibilities, I mean missile possibilities for this tank. Another type of ammunition is HE shells, 120 millimeters as well, with a penetration 30 millimeters though, but non-penetration hits gives you 54 damage and partial penetration 250. This type of ammunition could be used for very tough unpregnable targets, especially if they hang on last bits of health, to knock them out and win them. So now let's carry on with defense. Talking about defense, take a look at that. 2,700 hit points. It is average and nothing less or nothing more. However, hull protection is one of the best in between tier 6 premium main battle tanks. And turret protection is only average. I would like to stop a little bit at defense and express my opinion about that. Based on these stats on hit points, hull, and turret protection, I would say protection defense for this tank is quite average, disregarding that the hull armor is one of the best between tier 6 premiums. Why? Because take a look at that. If you play the game and you say you go in hull down position, then only the part of a tank what sticks out of the cover is your turret, right? And anyway, in any situation, always when you fire, you must expose your turret. And if your turret is only average, then your very steady, very firm, and good protected hull sometimes doesn't really matter. So here we are. This is our Osorio, and as opponent we are taking type 96. As you can see, frontal lower plate is quite huge. I would say it's huge target, and it's 100% pregnable. From the sides, no protection against the AP ammunition. Turret and side hull armor is very, very vulnerable. Only good protection what this tank has is frontal turret protection and the frontal upper plate, as we can see in armor calculator here. So let's carry on with other ammunition types. Let's pick heat ammunition. This tank has better, little bit better protection against heat ammunition frontally. As you can see, frontal lower plate gets a little bit less vulnerable, this medium part, but still it is pregnable and can be defeated. From the side, there is not anything what can protect us against the heat ammunition as well. Let's check HE, and wow, this is surprise. Actually, yeah, it's not axed, guys. I first time I looking at this tank in army calculator. Yeah, wow, it's great. This tank has very good HE protection. I would say all around except rear part. Even look at this patch on rear on a rear part of turret is protected. Well, it's cool. Actually, it's cool. Yeah, it's beneficial if someone doesn't know that and tries to to target you with HE ammunition. That opponent will be very, very unpleasantly surprised. Here we are back in a garage. Let's talk about mobility. Mobility tab, 70 kilometers per hour. It is very good top speed. It is second best. Only XM1 can do better than this one. Acceleration though, 4.9 seconds is average per tier, and hull traverse 33.98 degrees per second drops below the average, so it can be looked as a kind of con for this tank. Overall mobility is quite alright if we somehow can fight hull traverse, or not to use it so much, say go in straight lines and like a highway. But unfortunately it's just a joke and we cannot play like that. So we must do something about hull traverse further on in this review. So, and next one is utility tab. In utility tab we can see 10% camo, which is average for tank. Best for tanks is 15%, worst 5%, so it's 10% average. And vision 330 meters, which is poor vision, and we definitely must do something about that. This is a con. A bad vision, it is very, very serious problem in a game. If you don't see opponent and they can see you, then you're just screwed. Next, targeting minus 10 degrees gun depression and 20 degrees elevation. Minus 10 degrees depression will, it is good. First of all, it is good. And it will allow us to go and use some, if not most, hold down positions in maps. But here I would like to stop and take a look a little bit back. As we found out that this tank's turret protection is just average for tier, then we should not be very enthusiastic about held down positions. Of course, we should not forget them, but we should remember that our turret from the sides, especially if we are in held down position and we start to turn our turret around, pointing at different enemies, then we should remember that our side armor on a turret is very, very, very vulnerable, and our hull down position may not save us from incoming damage. Regarding accuracy, point 122 accuracy is average. I would like to see that this tank would have at least point 100 accuracy, but nevertheless it has 122 degrees, point 122 accuracy, and it is average, unfortunately. Aim time 1.67 seconds is quite good for tank. We should remember we're looking at tier 6 main battle tank. It's good for main battle tank. And turret traverse 42.42 degrees per second is excellent for main battle tank in tier 6. And to be honest, even for tier 7, 8, 9, and even for 10, tier 10, it would be good. 42 degrees per second, Tartarus is good, very good for main battle tank. At this point, I would like to mention that this tank has a special ability, which is called Override, which gives acceleration plus 200%, maximum speed plus 5%, handling plus 100%, and which duration is 8 seconds, cooldown of 53 seconds. Well, it's quite a useful special ability if you choose one of them. I suggested one of the two suggested gameplay styles, which we were gonna look a little bit later. Now let's summarize all pros and cons. We found out that this tank has good penetration, good DPM, reload time, good hull protection, good top speed, good gun depression, aim time, and turret traverse. These are pros. Quite a good package, right? Let's take a look at upgrade modules. There are 2 points what I would like to make a note. First one is a two-plane gun stabilizer, which gives 20% improvement on overall accuracy while we are moving with this tank. So this is important thing to remember. This is a pros point as well. And another one is SFIM VS 580 19E periscope. So, which reduces the accuracy penalty for firing and traversing the hull, which is as well quite a good pro point. Regarding cons, there are basically 2 cons only, which is hull traverse, quite sluggish, would you agree? And vision range, which is 330, if I remember right. Let's check it. 330 meters. Well, these are 2 main cons. Now let's talk about tactics, and summarizing all that we looked at and we found out about this tank, we must conclude that Osorio, this tier 6 premium main battle tank, can be good at what? Flanking, right? It has quite a good mobility, top speed, and average acceleration, but this tank has these 2 modules which increasing your accuracy while you're on the move, and you should not forget about that. And this is something what you can utilize from these tank's parameters. Next one, this tank has quite good sustained damage. Although its damage as such is only 480, it has quite heavy, quite a good punch with a very, very good penetration and DPM overall and good reload time. So this tank can provide good punch. And if necessary, this tank can take hull down positions because it has good gun depression and good frontal protection on the frontal upper plate and turret as well. But we should remember about vulnerability from the side, even on a turret. And this tank has HE ammunition, which is very useful in quite a lot of situations. First of all, when you must knock out the enemies, especially those which have a good armor protection, and at the same time they just hang on last bits of health. In these cases, HE ammunition is real helper. And at the same time, if you are confronted with an enemy, with opponent which drives very protected tank, very protected vehicle, you can use HE to harass that enemy, knocking out opponents' modules, immobilizing that tank, and therefore earning your experience and your points, your credits from doing that job. Regarding cruise skills, for a driver, I would suggest off-road driving and spin to win to increase its overall mobility and fight back hull crevasse issues, what we have on this tank. For a gunner, I would suggest sharpshooter to improve not so very good accuracy from my point of view, and quick draw to improve aiming time. And for loader, I would suggest rapid fire to even more increase its sustained damage potency, and either explosive shells or vehicles expertise. Well, these two skills, in my opinion, personally for me, it must be checked on battlefield, checked in a game how it works and which skills is needed more. Regarding retrofits, I would like to suggest two sets. For flanking and close contact gameplay, I would suggest ballistic computer, this one, to increase aim time, to minimize exposure during the aim time due to our turret is not very competitive, at least not from all sides. Remember about very huge vulnerability from the side. And next retrofit MRS for the same reason. And third one, I would suggest optics to fight back insufficient vision. If you prefer to fight from second line of defense or second line of assaulting line, then I would suggest following retrofits. First one would be improved muzzle reference system, then gun breech, and as a third one, I would suggest telescopic lenses. Let me explain myself about telescopic lenses, about this choice in this particular setup with this particular gameplay style from second line of defense or assaulting line. If you playing from that distance from the enemies, you may have choice quite often to stand behind some foliage cover for 3 seconds to activate your telescope, and that's how you increase your vision range very drastically. You can even spot enemies for your team from this kind of positions at the same time staying absolutely safe and absolutely undiscovered. So that's why telescopic lenses. And in this case, if you pick this second set of retrofits, I think you must pick explosive shells instead of let's go here. You must pick explosive shells instead of vehicle expertise because it will increase your firepower even more. Explosive shells will increase chances to knock out opponents' modules, therefore giving you opportunity to earn even more credits, more experience, and so on and so on. About commanders, regarding commanders, I would suggest Juan Carlos for those who would like to use this good tank for flanking or close combat gameplay. Juan Carlos will increase your vision range as well if you will be 25 meters away from your teammates. So it is good, and it will improve your mobility, maximum speed, and aiming time, accuracy while you moving. So this command will be good for flankers. For those who would like to play this tank from a second line of defense or assault line, I would suggest Sabrina. And in this case, as I already mentioned, you must pick explosive shells for a load as a skill, even more to top it up with Sabrina's a module damage skill, which will give you a quite wonderful result. On top of that, Sabrina will give you some spotting through the foliage, camo factor increase, little bit vision range increase. So yeah, she will be good commander for this tank if you will fight and play this tank from a second line. And that would be it for today. Thank you for watching and following Tank Zone. I would like to hear your opinion about this tank, how you will set up this tank, what is your overall opinion about this, so write that all in the comments. Yeah, I wish you a good luck in a gaming, good health, peace, and I will see you in the next episode.